is separated few seconds later. Cryogenic upper stage, CUS-15, is the third stage based on liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen stored at cryogenic temperatures as propellants. This stage operates for 13.5 minutes and increases the relative velocity of the rocket from 4.7 kilometers per second to 9.7 kilometers per second. The satellite NVS-01 is injected at an altitude of 251.5 kilometers with a relative velocity of 9.7 kilometers per second. Let me remind the viewers that the geosynchronous transfer orbit of NVS-01 has a perigee of 170 kilometers, which is how far the satellite will be at a point nearest to the Earth, and apogee, or the farthest point from Earth, of 36,744 kilometers nominally. Thrust burns of the satellite will then take it to the geostationary orbit.
Pyro and wall battery on. Onboard
अब
computer
हम प्रमोचन के पास आ चुके हैं. अब प्रमोचन 3 मिनट 24 सेकंड की दूरी पर है. इस मिशन के मुख्य उपग्रह NVS-1, जिसका कुल भार 2232 kg है, और इस श्रेणी में यह L5 तथा S बैंड के अलावा L1 फ्रीक्वेंसी बैंड का उपयोग अतिरिक्त सेवाएं प्रदान करने के लिए कर रहा है. इस उपग्रह में सबसे महत्वपूर्ण पेलोड है रुबिडियम परमाणविक आवृत्ति मानक घड़ी. परमाणविक घड़ी एक स्थिर आवृत्ति मानक प्रदान करता है जो कि सभी नेविगेशन पेलोड के लिए एक निर्देश का काम करेगा. NVS-1 उपग्रह यह प्रयोग कर अपनी परिशुद्ध नौवहन सुविधाएं को उन्नत बनाते हुए भारत के विकास के लिए समर्पित है.
We are about 2.5 minutes from the launch time. The network of ISRO telemetry tracking and command network stations view the launch vehicle along its trajectory. The trajectory parameters and separation events are ascertained through these stations. For the present mission, Shah, Port Blair, Brunei and Beak stations are participating.
-2 minutes.
NDTV Sam Daniel now joins us live for more on this story. So Sam, ISRO launching that navigation satellite, launch time is 2 minutes from now. What more information do you have?
Well, this will provide a big leap in providing real-time positioning and timing services, Rashika, over the country in an area approximately 1,500 kilometers around India's mainland. And this will give enhanced capabilities in terms of the deliveries of its predecessors. In fact, India requires at least 7 such satellites, but we have already 8. This is necessary because a couple of them have become non-functional now. And Navy IC requires at least, in terms of the mission is carried by the GSLV, and this will be the 4th launch in this particular year. It has already accomplished 3 successful launches this year, including both SSLV and PSLV, the heaviest rocket in the series now. And in terms of the application, this will really bring about a qualitative change in terms of providing real-time positioning and timing services for India.
-40 seconds.
40 seconds to go. Stand by for the launch.
-35 seconds. -30 seconds.
L40 VSPP open.
-25 seconds.
DS2 VSPP open.
-20 seconds. -15. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Plus 5 seconds.
Lift off normal.
प्रज्वलन और सफलतापूर्ण उत्थापन GSLV F12 का.
P3 tracking. P2 tracking.
चारों L40s तथा कोर बूस्टर S139 अपना सामान्य निष्पादन करते हुए उद्देश्य कक्षा की ओर अग्रसर।
Performance normal.
Nominal launch of the GSLV F-12 mission. The rocket flying by spewing fire into the clear sky of Sriharikota. GS-1 and L-40s together thrusting currently. The Shar ground station is currently tracking.
Shar 1 main auto.
Plus
Shar
1
2
minute.
is in main auto.
वर्तमान में प्रथम चरण प्रज्वलित है। इसका कार्यकाल लगभग 110 सेकंड का होगा। इसमें 4800 किलोन्यूटन का प्रणोद उत्पन्न होता है।
P2 change over to SCBT2.
The core 139 motor will continue to burn for 110 seconds, while the L-40s continue to burn
First
for a
stage
total of
performance
150
normal.
seconds. Thrust developed by the GS-1 S139 motor is 4,815 kilonewtons, while each of the L-40s develops 762.5
139
kilonewtons.
stage ban out.
प्रथम चरण को कट ऑफ कर दिया गया है।
Plus 2 minutes.
L40 अभी भी प्रज्वलित हैं।
This is a confirmation for the S139 burnout. L-40s still developing thrust.
कुछ ही क्षणों में हम देखेंगे द्वितीय चरण का प्रज्वलन तथा प्रथम चरण का पृथकन।
The current altitude is 67 kilometers.
40 stages thrust cut off. Stage separated. Second stage ignited.
जी हाँ, द्वितीय चरण का प्रज्वलन शुरू हो चुका है जैसा निर्धारित था और प्रथम चरण को यान से पृथक कर दिया गया है।
The second stage has ignited and the first stage has been separated from the ongoing launch vehicle. Currently, Shah station is tracking.
Plus 3 minutes.
जी हाँ, यान पूर्णतः निर्धारित
Second
पथ
stage
को
performance
अनुकरण करता
normal.
हुआ जा रहा है और द्वितीय चरण भी सामान्य निष्पादन कर रहा है। इस चरण का कुल कार्यकाल लगभग 140 सेकंड का होगा। इस दौरान यह 846 किलोन्यूटन का प्रणोद उत्पन्न कर यान को करीब 130 किलोमीटर की ऊंचाई तक ले जाएगा।
High thrust Vikas engine developing a nominal vacuum thrust of 846 kilonewtons. Vikas engine is a pump-fed engine
Second stage performance normal.
of UH-25 as fuel and N2O4 as oxidizer.
Plus 4 minutes.
Load fairing separated.
चूंकि यान घने वातावरण से बाहर जा चुका है इसलिए ऊष्मा कवच की आवश्यकता नहीं रह गई है और इसलिए इसे यान से पृथक कर दिया गया है।
Two major flight events have taken place in recent past. The initiation of closed loop guidance and the separation of payload
Second stage
fairing.
performance normal.
Currently, the vehicle is going as per the predicted trajectory. Shar and Port Blair stations currently
Stage is
tracking.
authorized.
द्वितीय चरण सामान्य निष्पादन करते हुए यान को उद्देश्य कक्षा की ओर ले जाता हुआ।
Second stage thrust cut off. Second stage
Plus
separate.
5 minutes.
Thrust ignition is commanded.
द्वितीय चरण को कट ऑफ के बाद में यान से पृथक कर दिया
Ignition
गया
is
है।
confirmed.
और अंतिम चरण क्रायो अपर स्टेज का प्रज्वलन शुरू हो चुका है.
The cryogenic upper stage has commenced its operation. The nominal burn duration for cryo stage is more than 13 minutes. Nominal thrust of the cryogenic upper stage is 73.97 kilonewtons, while the operated thrust is 83.34 kilonewtons. The cryogenic propellants have a specific impulse of 453.5 seconds.
तृतीय चरण, जिसे हम क्रायो अपर स्टेज के नाम से जानते हैं, यह बहुत ही जटिल इंजन होता है, इसलिए यहाँ काफी तालियों के साथ गड़गड़ाहट हम सुन सकते हैं जब तृतीय चरण का प्रज्वलन शुरू हुआ. कोई भी त्रुटि की कोई गुंजाइश नहीं होती है अंतरिक्ष मिशन में. जैसा कि आपको बताया गया, यह मिशन पूर्वी दिशा का मिशन है, इसलिए हमारे ग्राउंड स्टेशन शार तथा पोर्ट ब्लेयर स्थित भू स्टेशन इसे ट्रैक कर रहे हैं. तृतीय चरण का निष्पादन सामान्य और यान अपनी उद्दिष्ट कक्षा की ओर बढ़ता हुआ जा रहा है. अब हम प्रमोचन से 405 सेकंड की दूरी पर आ चुके हैं. ऊंचाई 145 किलोमीटर तथा सापेक्ष गति 5 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड.
Plus 7 minutes.
We are more than 400 seconds past the launch time. Current altitude of the launch vehicle is 146 kilometers and the relative velocity 5.14 kilometers per second. Let me describe to the viewers in the meantime the description of the satellite taking ride in this mission. Navigation services using Indian constellation of satellites provides accurate real-time positioning and timing services over India
Cryo stage performance
and
normal.
1,500 kilometers around India. The Indian Regional Navigation Satellite System, IRNSS, goes by an operational name Navik. The launch of IRNSS 1A took place in July 2013, and with the launch of IRNSS 1I in April 2018, the constellation of
Plus
Navik
8 minutes.
with first generation of satellites, that is 3 in geostationary and 4 in geosynchronous orbit, was complete. The present satellite NVS-01 is the first in the second generation navigation satellite series, which will ensure continuity of legacy Navik services.
यहाँ क्या चल रहा है?
Prime Minister Narendra Damodar Das Modi leading the most successful electoral enterprise, the Bharatiya Janata Party, for 9 straight years and counting.
निश्चित रूप से प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का नेतृत्व भारतीय जनता पार्टी की जीत में एक बड़ा और महत्वपूर्ण पड़ाव है.
They have a strong leader, a charismatic leader, and by all accounts a popular leader who people may or may not agree with him or like him, but he is a decisive leader of a party.
He tries to convey the message to party cadres that you are equally important, you are a stakeholder in this victory.
This is NDTV. No noise, no shouting, and most importantly, no lies. Our lead story tonight. Big international story India is closely watching. News that informs and inspires.
The news with Sonia Singh. Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. only on NDTV 24/7.
The only side we're on is yours.
When a glimmer of hope gave way to a new global threat, we were there. As our soldiers squared off against a hostile neighbor for yet another freezing winter, we were there. When brutality overwhelmed justice and a mockery was made of the rule of law, we were there. When the death of our first Chief of Defence Staff united our nation, we were there. Hope, justice, the truth. Left, right and centre with me, Vishnu Shobh, Monday to Thursday, 9 p.m. on NDTV 24/7.
Legacy is often seen as a burden of expectations. It comes with its own set of challenges. The challenge to take it forward, challenge to reimagine, challenge to be in the present, and also challenge to think about the future.
What accountability are you talking about?
As long as the core values and principles remain uncompromised. Debates are essential not just for journalism but for humanity. It ignites our mind, opens it up for counter-opinion. To hear all views, opinion of all hues. Which is why the oldest running debate show on Indian news television is not 22 years old, but it is young at 22.
इस इनिशिएटिव को मैं अभिनंदन करता हूं कि सच को सच के रूप में पेश करने का उन्होंने साहस दिखाया.
So let us begin the big fight.
This is NDTV. No noise, no shouting, and most importantly, no lies. Our lead story tonight. Big international story India is closely watching it. News that informs and inspires.
The news with Sonia Singh. Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. only on NDTV 24/7.
The only side we're on is yours.
When a glimmer of hope gave way to a new global threat, we were there. As our soldiers squared off against a hostile neighbor for yet another freezing winter, we were there. When brutality overwhelmed justice and a mockery was made of the rule of law, we were there. When the death of our first Chief of Defence Staff united our nation, we were there. Hope, justice, the truth. Left, right and centre with me, Vishnu Shobh, Monday to Thursday, 9 p.m. on NDTV 24/7.
Legacy is often seen as a burden of expectations. It comes with its own set of challenges. The challenge to take it forward, challenge to reimagine, challenge to be in the present, and also challenge to think about the future.
What accountability are you talking about?
As long as the core values and principles remain uncompromised. Debates are essential not just for journalism but for humanity. It ignites our mind, opens it up for counter-opinion. To hear all views, opinion of all hues. Which is why the oldest running debate show on Indian news television is not 22 years old, but it is young at 22.
इस इनिशिएटिव को मैं अभिनंदन करता हूं कि सच को सच के रूप में पेश करने का उन्होंने साहस दिखाया.
So let us begin the big fight.
This is NDTV. No noise, no shouting, and most importantly, no lies. Our lead story tonight. Big international story India is closely watching it. News that informs and inspires.
The news with Sonia Singh. Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. only on NDTV 24/7.
The only side we're on is yours.
When a glimmer of hope gave way to a new global threat, we were there. As our soldiers squared off against a hostile neighbor for yet another freezing winter, we were there. When brutality overwhelmed justice and a mockery was made of the rule of law, we were there. When the death of our first Chief of Defence Staff united our nation, we were there. Hope, justice, the truth. Left, right and centre with me, Vishnu Shobh, Monday to Thursday, 9 p.m. on NDTV 24/7.
Legacy is often seen as a burden of expectations. It comes with its own set of challenges. The challenge to take it forward, challenge to reimagine, challenge to be in the present, and also challenge to think about the future.
What accountability are you talking about?
As long as the core values and principles remain uncompromised. Debates are essential not just for journalism, but for humanity. It ignites our mind, opens it up for counter-opinion. To hear all views, opinion of all hues. Which is why the oldest running debate show on Indian news television is not 22 years old, but it is young at 22.
इस इनिशिएटिव को मैं अभिनंदन करता हूं कि सच को सच के रूप में पेश करने का उन्होंने साहस दिखाया.
So let us begin the big fight.
This is NDTV. No noise, no shouting, and most importantly, no lies. Our lead story tonight. Big international story. India is closely watching it. News that informs and inspires.
The news with Sonia Singh. Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. only on NDTV 24/7.
The only side we're on is yours.
When a glimmer of hope gave way to a new global threat, we were there. As our soldiers squared off against a hostile neighbor for yet another freezing winter, we were there. When brutality overwhelmed justice and a mockery was made of the rule of law, we were there. When the death of our first Chief of Defence Staff united our nation, we were there. Hope, justice, the
Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV 24/7. I'm Vedant Agarwal. Our big focus today is the situation in Manipur. Fresh flare-ups and fresh violence reported in Manipur. In fact, 5 have been killed. We'll get you ground reports from the northeastern state and also the latest on the restless protest here in the national capital. But first, a quick look at the headlines. Just 2 kilometers away from the newly inaugurated parliament, wrestlers detained. They were booked for rioting and obstructing the police. These are top women wrestlers of the country, dragged, pushed. Now, the Delhi police has filed an FIR for rioting and unlawful assembly. Fresh clashes in violence hit Manipur. At least 5 killed and 12 injured in the fresh violence. Security forces used tear gas and firing from point-blank range for those defying curfew. Union Home Minister Amit Shah will be visiting Manipur today for 3 days and assessing the security situation on the ground. A crucial Congress meeting in the national capital. Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge to meet Gehlot and Pilot today in Delhi. This comes just months ahead of the crucial Rajasthan elections. And Turkey's Erdogan declares victory in the Turkish election. After the historic win, Erdogan extends his record 2-decade rule. A day after US President Joe Biden and the Republicans reached an agreement on increasing the US debt ceiling, markets outperform. Adani and banking stocks outperform. A historic launch for India. ISRO launches a key navigation satellite. This is going to boost India's navigational capability. Our top focus this morning is the situation in the northeastern state of Manipur. At least 5 people, including a policeman, were killed. 12 people injured after fresh violence erupted in the northeastern state. Now remember, several instances of firing on civilians have been reported, and these are confrontations between militant groups and security forces, particularly in the problem areas of the vulnerable districts of Manipur. Now the government sources have said that there were overnight in several areas, including the state capital, Imphal. Several people tried to defy the curfew, and security forces had to use tear gas and point-blank firing. Remember, this comes just a day after Manipur Chief Minister Biren Singh said that 40 terrorists carrying automatic weapons were gunned down by security forces in a coordinated operation. But the clashes today significantly come on the day when Union Home Minister Amit Shah is scheduled to visit the northeastern state. He will be there till the 1st of June. He will be assessing the security situation on the ground and holding extensive meetings as well. Remember, earlier several MLAs from Manipur had met Union Home Minister Amit Shah when he was in Assam. Now, our reporter Saurabh Gupta is on the ground in Manipur, bringing you all the latest in terms of the security situation in the ground. Take a look.
The situation in Manipur remains tense amidst days of ethnic violence in the state. And now, of course, there is an effort underway to ensure that the state returns to normalcy, which is why you will see military personnel on the ground checking every vehicle, ensuring that there is always forces on the ground to prevent any untoward incident and prevent any escalation of any violence. All vehicles are being checked. The army clearly on the ground ensuring law and order, maintenance of law and order, return of peace and normalcy is the focus here of the administration and of course the military, which has been brought in to control the situation. And around you can see, of course, these are not normal sites. There are of course remnants clearly of the violence that have taken place in the previous days. Only one shop, for example, on this main road right now, as you can see, only one medical shop remains open on the other side with army personnel keeping guard. And that, of course, is really the situation in and around Imphal. This is the state capital of Manipur. So obviously, in other places as well, there is, of course, spurts of violence, and that is something that the army and other security personnel who've been deployed are focusing on to control and bring the situation back to normalcy as soon as possible. At Imphal, Manipur, with camera person Sanjay Chakraborty, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.
Now remember, Union Home Minister Amit Shah will be arriving in Imphal in the evening. He'll be there for the next 3 days. But the big political headline this morning, Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge will be meeting both Ashok Gehlot and Sachin Pilot today in the national capital. Now this is being seen as a reconciliation attempt by the Congress High Command, given that there have been public disagreements between Ashok Gehlot and Sachin Pilot, both tall leaders in Rajasthan. Sachin Pilot also launched his yatra against the corruption in Vasundhara Raje-led government, the erstwhile Vasundhara Raje-led government, and what he calls inaction on the part of the Gehlot government. So today, Mallikarjun Kharge meeting the two leaders is significant, given that it comes just months ahead of the crucial Rajasthan elections. And remember, after the Congress won in Karnataka with a thumping majority, there is some sense of putting its house together in other states as well. Remember, Mallikarjun Kharge will also be meeting top leaders of not just Rajasthan but also Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Telangana later in May. That meeting is also scheduled next month, so that's something that's going to be important as well. But today, Mallikarjun Kharge meeting Ashok Gehlot and Sachin Pilot. The Congress infighting in Rajasthan is something that's now public, given that Mr. Gehlot has so far refused to comment on Sachin Pilot's open disagreements with Ashok Gehlot and his yatra against the inaction of the Ashok Gehlot government, focusing on his Mehengai Rahat campaign, which is a key political plank for the Congress in Rajasthan ahead of the polls.
हाँ, करने वाले हैं, आने के बाद ही मालूम होगा कि डिस्कशन करेंगे, पार्टी के हित में जो कुछ बातें होगी वो चर्चा करेंगे.
Sunil Prabhu is now joining us live on the broadcast. Sunil, so after the Karnataka win for the Congress, in a sense, now the Congress trying to put its house together in other states as well. Is it a reconciliation bid? What's on schedule? What's on agenda?
Well, as you pointed out, I think they are going to meet both sides, both Mr. Gehlot as well as Mr. Sachin Pilot, and try to find if there is some meeting ground, because both have been at loggerheads, have been really attacking each other in subtle ways. Both holding rallies and separate, and their supporters have come to blows. It's in this backdrop that the Congress knows that it has to get its house in order if it has to try to retain the desert state. And it's in that backdrop that Mr. Kharge is trying to see if there is a way forward and if there is any hope for the Congress in terms of reviving and working together. Because the key takeaway after the Karnataka election has been that you need to work together, set aside your differences, and then only can you work unitedly to take on the BJP-led NDA, in particular in Rajasthan, where the BJP is faction-ridden. It's critical that the Congress comes together. But since there has been such a lot of differences between both Mr. Sachin Pilot and Mr. Ashok Gehlot, and both refusing to bury that hatchet, it's going to be extremely difficult to find a way forward.
Right, Sunil, thanks so much for that update. So, crucial meeting there today in the national capital. Now, the other big story. Yesterday, we celebrated a milestone of the Indian democracy with our new parliament being inaugurated. But just 2 kilometers away from the new parliament, India's top women wrestlers, they were detained and dragged and pushed by the Delhi police. These are shocking visuals from yesterday of India's top women wrestlers, including Vinesh Fogart and Sakshi Malik, being dragged and pushed by the Delhi police. They were kept in detention for almost 7 hours. Now remember, they have been protesting here in Jantar Mantar, at Jantar Mantar in the national capital for the past couple of months. They've been demanding the arrest of Brijbhushan Sharan Singh, who is the chief of the Wrestling Federation and also a member of the BJP. Now, yesterday they were peacefully protesting at the Jantar Mantar and also trying to march towards the new parliament. The Delhi police say that they tried to jump over barricades and also obstructed the police when they were performing their duty. In fact, taking a cue from that, the Delhi police have also filed an FIR for rioting, unlawful assembly and obstructing the police on duty. However, the wrestlers, remember yesterday night, they went to Jantar Mantar, but they were not allowed to protest. They have said today that even though they are not being allowed to protest at Jantar Mantar, which is a designated spot for protests in the national capital, they will continue what they call their satyagraha.
देखो, कल जो भी सिचुएशन हुई वो बहुत ही ख़राब थी. हम शांतिपूर्वक मार्च कर रहे थे, करना चाहते थे, करने तो दिया ही नहीं. जंतर मंतर से सिर्फ 10 कदम से ही पूरा बैरिगेटिंग था. तो हमने रिक्वेस्ट भी की कि प्लीज़ जाने दो. हमारी कॉल दी हुई है हमारे बड़े बुजुर्ग ने, हमें वहाँ पंचायत करनी है महिला सम्मान के लिए, लेकिन 10 कदम से ही उन्होंने बैरिगेटिंग स्टार्ट कर दी. हमने आगे बढ़ना स्टार्ट किया तो उन्होंने जो है पुशिंग स्टार्ट कर दी कि आप आगे नहीं आ सकते हो. तो उस पुशिंग में वो हमें डिटेन करने लगे, लेकिन हमने भी अपने आप को रोकने की कोशिश की कि मत आगे जाओ, मत लेके जाओ, बस में मत लेके जाओ. हम शांतिपूर्वक ही तो आगे बढ़ रहे हैं, लेकिन ज़बरदस्ती उठा के, आपने वीडियोस देखी होगी कि हमें बस में डाल दिया गया और डिटेन कर लिया. और उसके बाद हमें फिर शाम को 6 बजे छोड़ा उन्होंने.
घर जाने का तो कोई मतलब ही नहीं है भाई, जब तक न्याय नहीं मिल जाता. अभी जाके 10 घंटे से जो हमारे साथी हैं सब अलग अलग डिटेन कर रखे थे, गिरफ्तार कर रखे थे। तो अभी सबसे लास्ट में मेरे को ही छोड़ा गया है। सभी 7 बजे 7:30 बजे छोड़ दिए थे, लेकिन सबसे लास्ट में मेरे को ही छोड़ा गया है। एक बार जाके मिलके बैठ के बात करेंगे, उसके बाद डिसाइड करेंगे।
First, let me tell you that today the Jantar Mantar has been completely sealed. Even media is not allowed inside. Let me just show you the levels of barricading here. This is one level of barricading from one side of the gate. That's the other level of barricading through where the wrestlers were sitting for the past more than a month now, and they were protesting here. So this is the area around Jantar Mantar. The protest site has been completely sealed, and no one. Let me just say no one, not even the media, is allowed to step inside after the scuffle, after the wrestlers were detained from the protest site. Now, remember, this is not the first time. There was a clash between the Delhi police and the wrestlers. A few weeks ago, there was a clash later in the night where the wrestlers alleged mishandling, inappropriate behavior by the Delhi police. So, as for now, what I believe is that they will not back down. They will continue their protest. Although they have been denied permission, but what remains to be seen, how will they continue their protest from here on?
Moving on to the other big story, the Indian Space Research Organization, or ISRO, has successfully conducted the launch of its next generation navigational satellite, NVS-1. Now remember, the spacecraft is a part of the Navigation with Indian Constellation series, which aims to provide monitoring and navigational capability. The key applications of this include terrestrial, aerial and maritime navigation, and also precision agriculture, geodetic surveying, emergency services, fleet management, location-based services in mobile devices, and also orbit determination significantly for satellite, marine fisheries, timing services for financial institutions, power grids and other government agencies, and the Internet of all things based applications and other strategic applications. In fact, the ISRO now says that they have the ability to launch even bigger payloads, and this in a sense is going to be a big boost to our navigational capabilities. So a historic launch for India there. With that, we'll step into a short break. News and updates continue on the other side. Stay with us.
मैं नरेंद्र दामोदर दास मोदी ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं।
मिस्टर प्रेसिडेंट, आपसे मिलकर बहुत खुशी होती है।
डिजिटल इंडिया आत्मनिर्भर भारत की साधना। अगर एक महिला शिक्षित होती है तो पूरा परिवार शिक्षित हो जाता है। विकास की खुशबू जन जन तक पहुंचेगी।
आप सबको मैं प्रणाम करता हूं और आपका आशीर्वाद मांगता हूं।
सबका साथ, सबका विकास, हम नए भारत को बनाने के लिए काम कर रहे हैं।
Legacy is often seen as a burden of expectations. It comes with its own set of challenges. The challenge to take it forward, challenge to reimagine, challenge to be in the present, and also challenge to think about the future.
What accountability are you talking about?
As long as the core values and principles remain uncompromised. Debates are essential not just for journalism but for humanity. It ignites our mind, opens it up for counter-opinion. To hear all views, opinion of all hues. Which is why the oldest running debate show on Indian news television is not 22 years old, but it is young at 22.
इस इनिशिएटिव को मैं अभिनंदन करता हूं कि सच को सच के रूप में पेश करने का उन्होंने साहस दिखाया।
So let us begin the big fight.
This is NDTV. No noise, no shouting, and most importantly, no lies. Our lead story tonight. Big international story India is closely watching. News that informs and inspires.
The News with Sonia Singh. Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. only on NDTV 24/7.
The only side we're on is yours.
When a glimmer of hope gave way to a new global threat, we were there. As our soldiers squared off against a hostile neighbor for yet another freezing winter, we were there. When brutality overwhelmed justice and a mockery was made of the rule of law, we were there. When the death of our first Chief of Defence Staff united our nation, we were there. Hope, justice, the truth. Left, right and centre with me, Vishnu Shom, Monday to Thursday, 9 p.m. on NDTV 24/7.
Legacy is often seen as a burden of expectations. It comes with its own set of challenges. The challenge to take it forward, challenge to reimagine, challenge to be in the present, and also challenge to think about the future.
What accountability are you talking about?
As long as the core values and principles remain uncompromised. Debates are essential not just for journalism but for humanity. It ignites our mind, opens it up for counter-opinion. To hear all views, opinion of all hues. Which is why the oldest running debate show on Indian news television is not 22 years old, but it is young at 22.
इस इनिशिएटिव को मैं अभिनंदन करता हूं कि सच को सच के रूप में पेश करने का उन्होंने साहस दिखाया.
So let us begin the big fight.
This is NDTV. No noise, no shouting, and most importantly, no lies. Our lead story tonight. Big international story India is closely watching it. News that informs and inspires.
The news with Sonia Singh. Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. only on NDTV 24/7.
The only side we're on is yours.
When a glimmer of hope gave way to a new global threat, we were there. As our soldiers squared off against a hostile neighbor for yet another freezing winter, we were there. When brutality overwhelmed justice and a mockery was made of the rule of law, we were there. When the death of our first Chief of Defence Staff united our nation, we were there. Hope, justice, the truth. Left, right and centre with me, Vishnu Shom, Monday to Thursday, 9 p.m. on NDTV 24/7.
Legacy is often seen as a burden of expectations. It comes with its own set of challenges. The challenge to take it forward, challenge to reimagine, challenge to be in the present, and also challenge to think about the future.
What accountability are you talking about?
As long as the core values and principles remain uncompromised. Debates are essential not just for journalism but for humanity. It ignites our mind, opens it up for counter-opinion. To hear all views, opinion of all hues. Which is why the oldest running debate show on Indian news television is not 22 years old, but it is young at 22.
इस इनिशिएटिव को मैं अभिनंदन करता हूं कि सच को सच के रूप में पेश करने का उन्होंने साहस दिखाया.
So let us begin the big fight.
Well, it's been a terrific Monday on Dalal Street, a bright start to the week for the markets. Sakshi takes us through the details of what the record high is and why the high.
Both the Nifty and the Sensex surging in trade. Now, of course, what are the factors really for this surge? US debt ceiling deal. One, of course, we saw Asian markets surge before even Indian markets opened in trade, and Indian markets clearly following those cues. Strong earnings, really. Experts believe we've had a strong earnings session so far, a strong earnings season so far, and that's also the reason for this uptake. Now, of course, heavyweight stocks like, of course, Adani Group stocks, banking stocks in particular outperforming. Remember, we saw the Nifty Bank really outperform and hit a fresh record high right at the opening. We've also seen ICICI Lombard share prices jump after ICICI Bank, remember, has okayed raising stake size in that. And of course, Asian markets is what really started the day off with a bright green tick and the US debt ceiling deal really being cheered through. So now to decode this further, we have Ambrish Balika, market expert, joining us. Thank you so much for your time, sir. So clearly markets globally rejoicing the US debt ceiling deal.
Absolutely, because I think that was very important for the global economy as well as global markets, because we really could not afford sort of a default in US. And in case that would have happened, I think most of the treasuries across the globe would have been in trouble. So since this deal is more or less done, I think that's one of the main reasons why we have seen the markets shooting up. I think the second reason, like you rightly mentioned, was clearly on the earnings, because after a long time, we have seen that the Q4 earnings have been by far quite good. So that's also been cheered.
Right, and your thoughts for Indian markets going forward, sir?
We are clearly in a bull zone right now. I think those levels of 16,800, 17,000, I think that should be forgotten, at least for the time being. And I clearly see the markets moving up. But then would it move up in one line? I doubt, because we will see some corrections in between. But clearly we are in a bullish zone.
All right, so we're in a bullish zone going forward. That's, of course, news that we can all cheer. But, you know, going forward, many believe that, look, European markets are yet to open. US markets, of course, shut today. So what your expectations come tomorrow?
Even tomorrow, possibly we could see the markets holding up. But like I said, it will not be a one-way, one straight move up. We will have corrections. So I see 18,500 to 18,700, 800, where we are right now, possibly be a congestion zone where we could see a consolidation for a while. We could see sideways corrections, and then possibly the market can move further from there. Because we should remember that, when we are talking of doom and gloom across the globe, I think Indian economy would be one of the most performing one, would be a bright spot. So it's quite natural that we will have liquidity coming into the Indian market. FIs have also started investing fresh into India. So that really shows that there's a lot of interest in the Indian market. So because of which I'm saying that we should see much higher levels, but it may not be in one go. We should see some correction in between. And I'll not be surprised if we see 19,500 possibly in the next 3 or 4 months.
All right, thank you so much for sharing your initial thoughts. So really, Indian markets, the bright spot going forward. That's all from Business News at the moment.
So while Indian markets surging, that's some good news this morning. But time for a short break. More news on the other side. Stay with us.
This is NDTV. No noise, no shouting, and most importantly, no lies. Our lead story tonight. Big international story. India is closely watching it. News that informs and inspires.
The news with Sonia Singh. Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. only on NDTV 24/7.
The only side we're on is yours.
When a glimmer of hope gave way to a new global threat, we were there. As our soldiers squared off against a hostile neighbor for yet another freezing winter, we were there. When brutality overwhelmed justice and a mockery was made of the rule of law, we were there. When the death of our first Chief of Defence Staff united our nation, we were there. Hope, justice, the truth. Left, right and centre with me, Vishnu Shobh, Monday to Thursday, 9 p.m. on NDTV 24/7.
Legacy is often seen as a burden of expectations. It comes with its own set of challenges. The challenge to take it forward, challenge to reimagine, challenge to be in the present, and also challenge to think about the future.
What accountability are you talking about?
As long as the core values and principles remain uncompromised. Debates are essential not just for journalism but for humanity. It ignites our mind, opens it up for counter-opinion. To hear all views, opinion of all hues. Which is why the oldest running debate show on Indian news television is not 22 years old, but it is young at 22.
इस इनिशिएटिव को मैं अभिनंदन करता हूं कि सच को सच के रूप में पेश करने का उन्होंने साहस दिखाया.
So let us begin the big fight.
This is NDTV. No noise, no shouting, and most importantly, no lies. Our lead story tonight. Big international story India is closely watching. News that informs and inspires.
The news with Sonia Singh. Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. only on NDTV 24/7.
The only side we're on is yours.
When a glimmer of hope gave way to a new global threat, we were there. As our soldiers squared off against a hostile neighbor for yet another freezing winter, we were there. When brutality overwhelmed justice and a mockery was made of the rule of law, we were there. When the death of our first Chief of Defence Staff united our nation, we were there. Hope, justice, the truth. Left, right and centre with me, Vishnu Shom, Monday to Thursday, 9 p.m. on NDTV 24/7.
Legacy is often seen as a burden of expectations. It comes with its own set of challenges. The challenge to take it forward, challenge to reimagine, challenge to be in the present, and also challenge to think about the future.
What accountability are you talking about?
As long as the core values and principles remain uncompromised. Debates are essential not just for journalism but for humanity. It ignites our mind, opens it up for counter-opinion. To hear all views, opinion of all hues. Which is why the oldest running debate show on Indian news television is not 22 years old, but it is young at 22.
इस इनिशिएटिव को मैं अभिनंदन करता हूं कि सच को सच के रूप में पेश करने का उन्होंने साहस.
Moving now to the big international headline this morning. Turkey's Erdogan has declared victory in the polls that pose the biggest challenge to his 20 years rule. Erdogan prevailed by winning more than 52% of the vote in Sunday's presidential runoff, which came 2 weeks after he fell short of scoring an outright victory in the first round. But a majority of Turkish voters in the second round chose him over his challenger, showing their support for a man who they see as a strong and proven leader.
Bugün kimse kaybetmemiştir. 85 milyonun tamamı kazanmıştır. Milletimizin bize verdiği sorumluluğun gereği olarak kimseye kırgın, küskün, kızgın, öfkeli değiliz. Artık seçim dönemine dair tüm tartışmaları ve çekişmeleri bir kenara bırakarak milli hedeflerimiz, milli hayallerimiz etrafında birleşme, bütünleşme vaktidir.
And well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated Erdogan on his re-election as the president of Turkey, and he also said that he is confident that the bilateral ties between India and Turkey will only grow in the coming years. Remember, India's Operation Dost in the aftermath of the earthquake in Turkey was something that was talked about globally. All the help and relief that India had provided to Turkey in the devastation that the earthquake had unleashed in Turkey. The other big headline, Biden says that the final US debt ceiling deal ready to move to the Congress for vote with days to spare before a potential first ever government default. President Joe Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy reached the final agreement on Sunday, a deal to raise the nation's debt ceiling while trying to ensure enough Republican and Democratic votes, to pass the measure in the coming week. The final agreement between the leaders was confirmed by a person familiar with the situation and granted anonymity to discuss it.
That the only way forward was a bipartisan agreement. That agreement now goes to the United States House and to the Senate. I strongly urge both chambers to pass that agreement. Let's keep moving forward on meeting our obligations and building the strongest economy in the history of the world. And it's happened more than once. It will probably happen again, but it's not going to happen at least for another 2 years here. And I think beyond that it won't.
And a stunning image of a heart-shaped glacier on Pluto. NASA has shared this fascinating image on Instagram taken by its New Horizons spacecraft showing a heart-shaped glacier on Pluto's surface. The space agency routinely captures stunning images of our universe, leaving space lovers mesmerized. Yesterday, NASA shared this image taken by the New Horizons spacecraft. And all eyes are on the big IPL finale, which will be held tonight. Remember, it was supposed to be held yesterday night, but rain played a major spoil sport. All IPL fans were ready with their Sunday night plans, but the match will now be played tonight. What are the likely scenarios? Osama has all the details.
The match has been officially called off on Sunday. It has been raining since early evening and it only stopped around 11 p.m. Now the organizers, they had given the cutoff time of 9:30 p.m. for a full 20 overs a side match, post which the match would start to lose overs. The last cutoff time was 12:06 a.m. for a 5-a-side match, but because of bad weather, even that wasn't possible. There was a lot of water on the covers at 11 p.m. and clearing it would have taken it past the cutoff time of 12:06 a.m. Now that brings us to the question a lot of fans are also asking, what happens now? Well, if the match doesn't happen on the day it has been assigned to, it is postponed to a reserve day. In this case, that reserve day is Monday, the 29th of May. Now, what happens if it rains on reserve day too? Well, then in that case, Hardik Pandya-led Gujarat Titans will be adjudged the winner of IPL 2023. This is because the home team is at the highest position in the points table. Gujarat Titans had won 10 out of 14 league stage matches and finished with 20 points, whereas MS Dhoni led CSK. They finished at second spot in the at the points table with 17 points. At a net run rate of plus 0.652. CSK had won 8 out of their 10 league matches. Now, the fans who had been waiting very patiently in the ground, all of these fans had to collect the tickets, physical tickets. They have been advised to keep the physical tickets safe with them. They can use the same ticket for the match when they come in on Monday. You can see the information that was flagged off inside the stadium, which mentioned that please keep your physical tickets safe. This ticket will be used tomorrow, so they don't have to go and get a refund or get a replacement of that same ticket. So as it stands, the match will happen on Monday. If it rains on Monday, then Gujarat will be crowned champions for a second consecutive time.
Well, all of it really hinges on how the weather actually plays out this evening, because yesterday as well, it was really unexpected, the showers in Ahmedabad. So what is going to be the scenario this evening as far as the weather is concerned? Mr. Mahesh Pehlawat of SkyMet gets us the details.
It's a good news for fans because we do not expect any rain today over Ahmedabad or any part of Gujarat. And weather will be partly cloudy, few clouds will be there. And as the day will progress, weather may become cloudy, but chances of rains are ruled out. And winds will be from a westerly direction and moderate winds. The wind speed may be 15 to 20 kmph. So moderate strong winds will be from a westerly direction and weather will be clear.
Let's get you some more sports news now, and this is with regard to the Formula One racing event. Now, reigning world champion Max Verstappen won his maiden Monaco Grand Prix after a strong showing in the qualifying round. And the Dutch driver took a win in the principality, I beg your pardon, after a strong showing in the qualifying. Max extends his lead at the top of the drivers' standings after his teammate and last year's winner Sergio Perez crashed out of the qualifying after losing control and colliding heavily with barriers in Q1. Aston Martin's Fernando Alonso continued his fabulous run of form, finishing in second ahead of Alpine's Esteban Ocon.
But then in qualifying, you need to go all out and risk it all. My first sector wasn't ideal in my final lap. I think turn one was a bit cautious, but then I knew that I was behind. So the last sector, I just gave it everything I had, clipped a few barriers, but of course very happy to be on pole here.
And well, it's award season, and one of the big awards back home is the IFA Awards. They're being held in Abu Dhabi, and our very own Arun Singh is one of the lucky few to be on the red carpet. He's getting us fun conversations with all your favorite Bollywood stars.
Good, how are you, sir?
Good, man.
आप बताइए आपका स्किन केयर रूटीन क्या है, sir? This is the second time I'm asking this, and of course I'm absolutely impressed with the way you're looking today.
Thank you so much. I think skincare routine is what you have to you have to take care of it. You have to take care of your, and the best way to take care is what food you eat.
Okay.
That also reflects no smoking. Smoking can be very bad for skin.
That's a great message actually, and a lot of youngsters also follow you.
It ages you. It's not only that it affects your lungs, but it affects your skin also. And alcohol is so I think the sleep and the food is very, very important. And the creams and all, obviously they are the bonus, and whatever moisturizing your face and all. Yeah,
this is great. Now since you are so young and you have a lot of young fans, I have three.
How are you, my friend?
We have three Gen Z slangs for you, sir, for you to decode. Shade. What do you think shade is?
Shade is. I love shade. Yeah.
No, you threw shade at me. What does that mean? You threw shade at me. What would that mean? Hint दे सकती हो बीरा?
ये shade.
थोड़ा भाव, थोड़ा attitude.
अच्छा वो
Yeah. Okay, ghost.
बहुत ज़रूरी है.
Okay, ghost. Anil Kapoor ghosted me.
Attitude देना बहुत ज़रूरी है. कुछ लोगों को तो ज़रूरी है.
Okay, Anil Kapoor ghosted me.
Be nice to them, be humble, be very down to earth.
Yeah, actually did.
And be warm. But कभी-कभी कुछ लोगों को थोड़ा देना पड़ता है. बहुत ज़रूरी है.
Sara Ali Khan here on NDTV. You are the rhyming queen. I'm going to do some rhymes and you have to complete it.
Okay.
माहौल है कमाल, सारा ने पहना है लाल.
आई है सौम्या देखने कपिल का कमाल.
Ooh, not bad. ये है
होगा जरा हटके जरा बचके में टोटल धमाल.
Second one. ये है आइफा का जलवा.
इसके बाद खाऊंगी मैं गाजर का हलवा.
Very good. कर रही है सारा किल, रही है यहाँ मुझसे मिल.
2 जून को विक्की और मैं चुराएंगे आपका दिल.
Not bad. किसकी परफॉर्मेंस के लिए एक्साइटेड है आइफा में?
वरुण की परफॉर्मेंस के लिए एक्साइटेड हूँ.
Okay. और आप भी कुछ ठुमके लगाने वाली हैं साथ में? From the audience?
Backstage.
Okay. Lovely. Thank you so very much, Sara. Thanks. All the best for your film. A.R. Rahman on NDTV. Hi, sir. Whose performance are you most looking forward to?
I don't even know who's performing, but I'm very excited to see all the surprises.
Bhai is performing. Salman Khan is performing.
Yeah, of course. I'd like to see it.
Okay. And since we've not met after that big Oscar announcement, what was your reaction when we won it for Natu Natu?
It was great. I was always pitching for, and this is just 10 years late. I thought every year after Jai Ho, I think every year somebody would, and it's happening now.
And of course, you are also going to get us next.
Inshallah.
Thank you so much.
Prime Minister Narendra Damodar Das Modi, leading the most successful electoral enterprise, the Bharatiya Janata Party, for 9 straight years and counting.
निश्चित रूप से प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का नेतृत्व भारतीय जनता पार्टी की जीत में एक बड़ा और महत्वपूर्ण पड़ाव है।
They have a strong leader, a charismatic leader, and by all accounts a popular leader who people may or may not agree with him or like him, but he is a decisive leader of a party.
He tries to convey the message to party cadres that you are equally important, you are a stakeholder in this victory.
This is NDTV. No noise, no shouting, and most importantly, no lies. Our lead story tonight. Big international story India is closely watching. News that informs and inspires.
The news with Sonia Singh, Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. only on NDTV 24/7.
The only side we're on is yours.
When a glimmer of hope gave way to a new global threat, we were there. As our soldiers squared off against a hostile neighbor for yet another freezing winter, we were there. When brutality overwhelmed justice and a mockery was made of the rule of law, we were there. When the death of our first Chief of Defence Staff united our nation, we were there. Hope, justice, the truth. Left, right and centre with me, Vishnu Shobh, Monday to Thursday, 9 p.m. on NDTV 24/7.
Legacy is often seen as a burden of expectations. It comes with its own set of challenges. The challenge to take it forward, challenge to reimagine, challenge to be in the present, and also challenge to think about the future.
What accountability are you talking about?
As long as the core values and principles remain uncompromised. Debates are essential not just for journalism, but for humanity. It ignites our mind, opens it up for counter-opinion. To hear all views, opinion of all hues. Which is why the oldest running debate show on Indian news television is not 22 years old, but it is young at 22.
इस इनिशिएटिव को मैं अभिनंदन करता हूं कि सच को सच के रूप में पेश करने का उन्होंने साहस दिखाया।
So let us begin the big fight.
This is NDTV. No noise, no shouting, and most importantly, no lies. Our lead story tonight. Big international story India is closely watching. News that informs and inspires.
The news with Sonia Singh, Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. only on NDTV 24/7.
The only side we're on is yours.
When a glimmer of hope gave way to a new global threat, we were there. As our soldiers squared off against a hostile neighbor for yet another freezing winter, we were there. When brutality overwhelmed justice and a mockery was made of the rule of law, we were there. When the death of our first Chief of Defence Staff united our nation, we were there. Hope, justice, the truth. Left, right and centre with me, Vishnu Shobh, Monday to Thursday, 9 p.m. on NDTV 24/7.
Legacy is often seen as a burden of expectations. It comes with its own set of challenges. The challenge to take it forward, challenge to reimagine, challenge to be in the present, and also challenge to think about the future.
What accountability are you talking about?
As long as the core values and principles remain uncompromised. Debates are essential not just for journalism, but for humanity. It ignites our mind, opens it up for counter-opinion. To hear all...
We are joined by author Ramesh Tripathi. Mr. Tripathi, I know you're running a real packed schedule in United Kingdom, so thank you so much for taking out time and joining us here on NDTV. I just want to begin by asking you, Mr. Tripathi, when Prime Minister today inaugurated this new building, he said this, that, you know, this very moment is going to be etched in the memories of all of us forever. You as a citizen of India, what were your thoughts when you were watching this inauguration?
Megha, the way I see it, you know, many of our structures in the National Capital Region are actually colonial structures. They reflect a colonial attitude. The Indian Parliament, I'm sure you're aware, was inspired by the Chausat Yogini temple from Madhya Pradesh. But much of the symbolism in there, remember it was built as a council for princes. So much of the symbolism in there are actually British. So for example, there's a reason why the Rajya Sabha upholstery is colored red and Lok Sabha is colored green, because the House of Lords in the UK Parliament is colored red and the House of Commons is colored green. So actually, without us even realizing it, many of the symbols in the Parliament are actually of the British Raj. Now, when we gained independence, we did update many of the symbols. So, for example, we adopted the Dharma Chakra, which is the ancient dharmic symbol, the Hindu, Buddhist, Jain symbol. We adopted Ashoka's lion pillar. But in many of our structures, they weren't updated, the actual physical structures. You could make a case that maybe we didn't have the money earlier. But now that we do, I think it's a good idea to build new structures which reflect India's civilizational ethos. There's also, of course, the equally important aspect that these new buildings will raise efficiency. As someone who's visited the Parliament, and you have visited, I'm sure, far greater number of times than I have. You could sense that building was bursting at the seams. The office space for the MPs wasn't good enough. The capacity simply wasn't good enough. The Indian Parliament wasn't earthquake resistant, for example, which is a shocking fact to discover. You know, Bhagwan na kare if an earthquake had happened. So the new structure, of course, is better from an efficiency perspective as well.
So, Mr. Tripathi, you know, having written the Meluha book, in Shiva trilogy, from there to the series on Ram, you've written a lot about the cultural past of India. And so I ask you this question, what according to you is the significance of the Sengol? There's been so much of a controversy around it.
I'm not a historian. I'm actually a maths graduate. So I'm as left-brained and boring as they come. I'm a history enthusiast. I read a lot of history. I read a lot. I read 5-6 books per month. So of the stuff that I have read, there is a North Indian equivalent of the Sengol, and such a ceremony is there in every part of India. It's called Raj Danda. So Raj Danda is mentioned in the Shanti Parva of the Mahabharata, which, as I'm sure you're aware, is actually a governance discussion. Acharya Chanakya's Arthashastra mentions the Raj Danda. Thiruvalluvar's Thirukural mentions the Raj Danda, but in the name Sengol. It's the same concept that essentially it's like a scepter. It is believed that Lord Shiva himself would manifest in that scepter, the Raj Danda, and hence there's the Nandi, Lord Nandi bull on top, which is also many scholars say can also refer to the bull of Dharma, and the entire concept is that the state and the ruler must be guided by Dharma in how they run the state. Dharma is not religion. Dharma is often erroneously translated as religion. Dharma is actually above religion. Panth translates as religion. Dharma is the right way to be, the balanced way to be, the sustainable way to be, the duties that a state must follow. And that's what the Raj Danda is supposed to signify, the Sengol Raj Danda. And actually, if you read across India in the ancient Rajyabhishekas or the coronation ceremonies, this was a part of the coronation ceremony. You find it described. I haven't heard the term Sengol. I have to be honest. I've studied in Tamil Nadu. I did my primary schooling out there, but I had heard the term Ras Danda. It's a delight to discover that Sengol is the same thing, and it's actually been, given pride of place in our parliament. It's wonderful.
Right. So, Mr. Tripathi, there is a section in the political setup of our country, and that includes, of course, the Congress, which now has been saying that this government is lying, that they are lying about Sengol, and that there really isn't much in terms of historical evidence to suggest that this was really the symbol that was used at the time of independence to signify the transfer of power. What would you have to say on that?
Megha, I certainly wouldn't like to be drawn into any political controversy, but I can say that from what one has read of descriptions of coronations in ancient past, a scepter or a Ras Danda or a Sengol was given to kings and indeed queens. I'm sure you're aware that in ancient India we had queens who ruled in their own name, like Rani Pravati Gupta. So if you read the coronations, that ceremony was actually described. Whether the Honorable First Prime Minister of India, the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Nehru, whether he went through the ceremony, there are articles that are there in Time or New York Times, but I guess it's best if scholars of that era explore and make a judgment call on that. But what I would advise is, more than the political controversy, to me, this seems like a civilizational moment. It's in a way, I'm sitting in Wales right now. I'm in Cardiff. I'm here on a book tour. My own book is being launched in the UK. And the Welsh language for many centuries, Megha, was actually oppressed by English. And for the first time in 1,000 years, the recent coronation of, that happened with King Charles, for the first time in 1,000 years, the Welsh language was also used. So in a way, it was a revival of an ancient spirit. And you can see the pride in the eyes of the Welsh when they speak of this. And I see a similar, thought with the Sengol being revived. And if you notice, Megha, you can say that it's a Tamil word, that the Sengol itself was made and consecrated by Adinams from a Tamil mutt, but you don't find the common people in North India, West India, East India saying this is not our symbol. In fact, everyone is saying this is our symbol. And to me, that is a civilizational moment of unity that I would like to focus on. Political battles will keep happening, but I think this is a much bigger issue to look at. I genuinely believe it's a civilizational moment.
क्या चल रहा है?
This is NDTV. No noise, no shouting, and most importantly, no lies. Our lead story tonight. Big international story India is closely watching. News that informs and inspires.
The news with Sonia Singh. Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. only on NDTV 24/7.
The only side we're on is yours.
When a glimmer of hope gave way to a new global threat, we were there. As our soldiers squared off against a hostile neighbor for yet another freezing winter, we were there. When brutality overwhelmed justice and a mockery was made of the rule of law, we were there. When the death of our first Chief of Defence Staff united our nation, we were there. Hope, justice, the truth. Left, right and centre with me, Vishnu Shobh, Monday to Thursday, 9 p.m. on NDTV 24/7.
Legacy is often seen as a burden of expectations. It comes with its own set of challenges. the challenge to take it forward, challenge to reimagine, challenge to be in the present, and also challenge to think about the future.
What accountability are you talking about?
As long as the core values and principles remain uncompromised. Debates are essential not just for journalism, but for humanity. It ignites our mind, opens it up for counter-opinion. To hear all views, opinion of all hues. Which is why the oldest running debate show on Indian news television is not 22 years old, but it is